Hey NFL fans, before we dive into today's hottest stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update from NFL news now. You can feel it in the air in Philadelphia right now. The vibes are tense but electric. The Eagles are flying high again, but this time, it's not about Jalen Hurts making magic or A.J. Brown torching defenses. Nope. This week, it's the front office that's stealing the show. The Birds have gone back to doing what they do best, playing chess while the rest of the league is still trying to figure out checkers. As the trade deadline looms closer, General Manager Howie Roseman has once again pulled a move that screams one thing: the Eagles are all in. And it's not just about keeping pace in the NFC. It's about building a defense that can finish the job when January rolls around. So what did the Eagles do? They went out and added another weapon to their secondary. A guy who can bring some much-needed stability and swagger to a cornerback room that's been hanging on by duct tape and hope. According to multiple reports, including one from NFL Network's Ian Rappaport, the Eagles are acquiring cornerback Michael Carter II from the New York Jets, along with a 2027 seventh-round pick. In return, Philly sends wide receiver John Mechie III and a 2027 sixth-rounder to New York. Now, on paper, this might look like a small deal, a classic depth move. But when you dig deeper, you start to see how this fits perfectly into the larger puzzle that Roseman is building piece by piece. Let's rewind a bit. Remember just a couple of weeks ago when Brandon Graham, the heart and soul of that defensive line, decided to come out of retirement? That was huge. It gave the locker room a spark, and it reminded everyone of what Philly football is supposed to look like: physical, nasty, relentless. But even with Graham's return, the pass rush can only do so much if the secondary can't hold up. And right now, that secondary has been a real point of concern. Adoree Jackson is out, Jacorian Bennett is still recovering on injured reserve, and the young guys have been inconsistent at best. So the move to bring in Carter II isn't just smart, it's necessary. Carter brings exactly what Philly needs: versatility, speed, and experience. He's a former fourth-round pick by the Jets back in 2021, and while his time in New York wasn't flashy, it was steady. This season alone, through 8 games, he's racked up 14 total tackles, 9 of them solo, and has defended a couple of passes. Nothing that blows up the stat sheet. But here's the thing: he's been in a tough defensive system, shadowing slot receivers, and playing in zone-heavy looks that demand precision. That kind of experience translates perfectly into what the Eagles like to do under defensive coordinator Vic Fangio, who's all about disciplined coverage and smart reads. And get this, Carter wanted this trade. He wanted to be in Philadelphia so badly that he actually agreed to remove the $5 million guaranteed injury clause from his 2026 contract year just to make the deal happen. Let that sink in for a second. This guy literally gave up guaranteed money for a chance to play in Philly. That's not something you see every day in the NFL, and it says a lot about how much players respect this organization right now. They know it's a winning culture. They know it's a chance to compete for a Super Bowl. And Carter wanted in on that. Now, let's talk about the man behind the curtain, Howie Roseman. You can love him, hate him, criticize him for being too aggressive, but at the end of the day, nobody in the NFL manipulates a roster like Howie. He's always 2 steps ahead. Think about it. When the Eagles traded for John Mechie III from the Texans earlier this year, it didn't make much sense at the time. Philly already had a loaded receiver room with A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, and Jahan Dotson. There was no clear path for Mechie to get snaps. But now, looking back, you realize Roseman was playing the long game. He didn't trade for Mechie to play him. He traded for Mechie to use him later as currency. And that's exactly what he did here. With depth at receiver and Saquon Barkley finding his groove in the backfield, dropping 150 rushing yards on the Giants last week, Roseman had flexibility. The offense is humming, the offensive line is healthy, and Jalen Hurts is back to his confident, methodical self. That gave Roseman the freedom to shift focus entirely to the defense. Because let's face it, the Eagles' offense can score with anyone, but the defense, ranked 18th in passing yards allowed per game at 215.9, needed serious help. That's where Carter II comes in. His arrival gives Quinyon Mitchell, the young stud corner they drafted, some much-needed support. Mitchell's been good, no question, but asking him to carry the load week after week without help is a recipe for disaster. With Carter on one side and Mitchell on the other, the Eagles can finally roll out a secondary that gives their front line time to feast. And man, what a front line it is. Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Brandon Graham, and maybe, just maybe, another big name before the deadline hits. Because make no mistake, Howie Roseman isn't done yet. There's already talk that the Eagles are eyeing another edge rusher. Names like Jalen Phillips from the Dolphins, and even Quinnen Williams. Yes, the same Quinnen Williams who dominates in the Jets' trenches, have been floating around. And you can't rule anything out with Roseman. He's got relationships everywhere. And don't forget, the connection between Philly and New York runs deep. Joe Douglas, who's currently part of the Jets' front office, used to work in Philadelphia. That kind of familiarity makes deals like this possible. What's wild is that this trade feels like it's been months in the making. The Eagles must have known during training camp that cornerback depth could become a problem. The early signs were there. The defense wasn't clicking the way it should have, and injuries piled up faster than expected. Still, instead of panicking, Roseman waited. He let the market develop. He let other teams show their hands. And when the right opportunity came along, a chance to snag a motivated player like Carter for next to nothing, he pounced. That's how champions operate. It's also worth pointing out how much this move aligns with the Eagles' locker room culture. Philly's built around accountability and effort. You earn your snaps. You earn your respect. Carter's decision to give up guaranteed money to make this happen speaks volumes about the kind of mentality he's bringing in. He's not chasing a paycheck. He's chasing a ring. And when a guy like that walks into your locker room, it sets a tone. It energizes the veterans. It motivates the young players. And it reinforces the message that this team is serious about finishing what it started. Looking ahead, the Eagles are positioning themselves beautifully. The NFC is stacked, no doubt. San Francisco looks like a juggernaut again. Detroit's tough, and Dallas is always lurking. But Philadelphia has something those teams don't: the ability to reinvent itself mid-season without skipping a beat. Every time it looks like a weakness is forming, Roseman finds a way to patch it. And it's not just about making flashy moves, it's about making smart ones. The kind that fix problems before they turn into disasters. If you're an Eagles fan, you have to feel good about this. The defense is tightening up, the offense is gaining confidence. And the coaching staff has the roster flexibility to adapt week to week. This is a team built to last through December football, built for those cold, gritty NFC playoff battles where every tackle and every possession matters. Carter, too, might not be the biggest name out there, but he's the kind of piece that can quietly change the trajectory of a season. And let's be honest, this move fits right into the narrative of how Philly wins. It's not about flashy, headline-grabbing trades every time. It's about adding the right guy at the right moment. Someone who understands the assignment, buys into the system, and gives 100% on every down. That's Carter. That's the Eagles' way. So here we are, just days away from the trade deadline. And the Birds have already made their move. But don't count out another one. If Roseman smells blood in the water, if he sees one more chance to turn this defense from good to elite, you can bet he'll pull the trigger. Because in Philly, it's not about just making the playoffs. It's about lifting that Lombardi. And every move, every decision, every trade is made with that singular goal in mind. The Philadelphia Eagles just got stronger, smarter, and meaner on defense. Michael Carter, too, is on board. The secondary is reloaded. The message is clear. The Eagles are ready to make another run, and the rest of the NFL better be ready for takeoff. Keep watching as we analyze more details about some rumors. Matthew Judon is reportedly set to join the Philadelphia Eagles, and if the whispers on the street are anything to go by, the team's defensive scheme is about to become a living nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. Picture this. A relentless pass rusher with the speed of a sprinter and the power of a freight train, patrolling the edges of the line, hunting quarterbacks before they even know what hit them. Sources close to the Eagles' locker room hint that the front office has been quietly orchestrating this move for months, and now it seems like the pieces are finally falling into place. The potential impact on the NFC landscape is massive, and fans are buzzing with anticipation. Could this single acquisition transform the Eagles into an almost untouchable defensive juggernaut? Insiders are already suggesting that rival QBs might start reconsidering game plans months in advance. Matthew Judon, known for his explosiveness and uncanny ability to bend around blockers, has spent the last few seasons making offenses tremble, and now Philadelphia might just become the perfect stage for his talents. Analysts and former players alike are speculating about how defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon will deploy him. Will he line him up on the edge in a traditional 4-3 scheme? Will we see more exotic blitz packages designed specifically to maximize Judon's speed off the snap? The rumor mill is alive with theories, each one painting a picture of a defense that could dictate the flow of entire games. And while official statements from the Eagles have been, as expected, carefully worded, sources within the organization hint that Judon's presence is about more than just stats. It's about intimidation, about turning every offensive snap into a high-stakes chess match where the quarterback is perpetually on the defensive. Fans are already imagining the chaos this could unleash in the NFC East. Imagine Jalen Hurts, already a dynamic dual-threat quarterback, now backed by a defense that can practically control the line of scrimmage on any given down. The synergy between an aggressive front seven and Judon's elite pass-rushing skills could mean shorter fields for the offense, more turnovers, and, crucially, momentum swings that can decide tight contests. Rivals like the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants are reportedly starting to strategize around this potential disruption. Sources claim that teams may even consider drafting or signing extra linemen specifically to counter this newfound edge, but will it be enough to slow down a Judon-led pass rush? The buzz is that the Eagles' defensive approach will no longer just be reactive. It's going to be proactive, aggressive, and downright scary for anyone lining up under center. There's also chatter about how Judon's presence could change the culture within the Eagles' locker room. Veterans and younger players alike are said to be inspired by his work ethic, his relentless pursuit of excellence, and his ability to rise in crucial moments. Some insiders are suggesting that his influence could elevate the entire defensive squad, fostering a mentality where no quarterback feels comfortable behind the line of scrimmage. The buzz around Philadelphia streets is electric. From diehard fans in South Philly to analysts tweeting late-night theories, everyone seems to agree. This isn't just a signing, it's a statement. And if the whispers are correct, Judon isn't just coming into play, he's coming in to dominate, to set the tone for an entire season, and to remind the NFL that the Eagles' defense is a force to be reckoned with. Rumors also point toward potential strategic innovations that could come with Judon's addition. Some are talking about hybrid schemes that mix 3-4 and 4-3 principles, designed specifically to put him in positions where he can wreak maximum havoc. Others speculate about creative blitz rotations that could leave even the most experienced quarterbacks second-guessing their reads. The idea floating around is that no offense will ever truly feel comfortable, because Judon's mere presence forces adjustments pre-snap and post-snap alike. Every game could turn into a psychological battle, with opposing QBs trying to predict Judon's movements, while the Eagles' coaching staff revels in the chaos. It's the kind of setup that, if executed properly, can completely tilt the competitive balance of a division. And let's be honest, in a league where margins are razor-thin, a single edge rusher can be the difference between playoff heartbreak and a Super Bowl run. Philadelphia sports media is already hyping the potential. Pundits are throwing around phrases like game changer, defensive nightmare, and edge that shifts the NFC East, and the rumor mill only fuels the narrative. Social media is ablaze with gifs of Judon making highlight reel sacks, fans tagging friends and rivals with "watch this space" messages, and conspiracy threads about secret plays that could be in the Eagles' new playbook. Even casual fans who normally only pay attention during playoff season are taking notice. The excitement isn't just about one player, it's about what he represents. Judon is seen as the missing piece in a puzzle that, until now, showed promise but lacked the final, terrifying edge that keeps quarterbacks awake at night. There's speculation that this move could also have ripple effects across the NFL. If Judon thrives in Philadelphia, will other teams double down on pass rush talent in response? Could this trigger a mini-arms race along the defensive line, with clubs scrambling to match the intensity that the Eagles now promise to deliver? Rumors hint at whispers in scouting departments, discussions in war rooms, and even late-night calls between rival coaches, all trying to figure out how to cope with the sheer disruptive potential of Judon. The narrative is simple yet compelling. A singular defensive force can change not only the fortunes of a team, but the entire competitive landscape of the league. And given the Eagles' ambitions, Insiders say that this signing is as much about sending a message as it is about accumulating stats. It's a declaration that Philadelphia intends to dominate both sides of the ball. Of course, as with any blockbuster rumor, there are skeptics. Some analysts caution that even the best pass rusher can't win games alone. Injuries, scheme fit, and chemistry all play a role, and while Judon's talents are undeniable, the NFL is littered with cautionary tales. Yet the prevailing sentiment in Eagles circles is overwhelmingly positive. The idea is that Judon is not just talented, but adaptable, someone who can thrive in different roles, elevate those around him, and be the spark that ignites an entire defensive identity. Rumors about contract terms and guaranteed money are swirling as well, but fans seem less concerned with the financials and more captivated by the possibility of watching their team morph into a true defensive powerhouse. Whispers also suggest that Judon's signing could have implications beyond the field. Marketing, merchandise, and fan engagement are all expected to see a surge. The mere prospect of a season with him patrolling the defensive front has created a buzz that the Eagles haven't experienced in years. Season tickets are rumored to be selling faster. Fan forums are packed with excited speculation, and even neutral observers are tuning in just to see how this story unfolds. It's the kind of narrative that feeds itself. Every game, every sack, every forced hurried throw adds another layer to the legend of the Judon-era Eagles. The rumor, the buzz, the excitement. They're all converging into a storyline that feels larger than life. A tale of a team that might just be on the verge of redefining what it means to be defensively dominant in today's NFL. As the news slowly leaks out and social media ignites, one thing is clear. Matthew Judon joining the Philadelphia Eagles isn't just another roster move. It's the kind of blockbuster event that makes fans, analysts, and rival teams sit up and take notice. The streets of Philadelphia are alive with anticipation, and even casual observers can sense the potential seismic shift. If the whispers prove true, opposing quarterbacks are in for a long, miserable season, and the Eagles' defense is poised to become the stuff of nightmares. The questions now are endless. How quickly can Judon adapt to his new environment? How will the coaching staff unleash his full potential? Can this single signing be the spark that propels the Eagles to Super Bowl contention? Rumors, speculation, and excitement will continue to swirl, but one thing feels certain. Philadelphia might just have acquired the defensive weapon they've been dreaming of, and the NFL is about to feel the tremors. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video and share it with your fellow NFL fans. Stay tuned for more updates, only here on NFL News Now.